Hi guys, Chrissy here. I wanted to take some time today to chat to you about leaks in business models and how to fix them. I've spent a lot of time in my career so far helping business owners and founders refine their business models, looking for where it is leaking revenue and cash flow. And I feel like I've done that so many times. That is fast become an area of core competency. Besides the fact that I've done it over and over again, and that has obviously helped the way that my competency in that area. I'm also very privileged to be able to have both a finance background, a very strong one at that, and a lot of training in design. So I bring those two perspectives when I'm refining and kind of due diligencing business models for founders and business owners. So today I want to chat to you guys about three of them and what to do to fix them. Okay, so the first one on my list is mismatch between revenue and value, and this one is usually very common. Frankly, all the three I'm going to talk about are quite common, and that's what I'm talking about. So mismatch between revenue and value. Let's take, for instance, a wellness startup that offers deep transformational coaching services. Now, before any client will see real breakthrough, that happens in about 4 to 6 weeks into the coaching program. However, the way that this startup is as charged or as priced is such that the clients pay every session as opposed to anything, but what is obtainable today is that the clients pay every session. They charge them per session. So what they started to notice is really high churn, like the clients were churning really bad, and so it was affecting business, affecting cash flow, affecting revenue, affecting a lot of things. The leak here is that the revenue doesn't match the transformation arc. So if the transformation arc happens at 4 to 6 weeks, the pricing, which is what is the revenue for the company here, comes in before the client is even able to see any transformation at all. So that's not encouraging to the average human being. There's no patience. If I'm having to paying you per session, and every time I want to bring that money, I don't see the value for what you're offering me, of course I'll not be excited to pay. So that leads to churn as in the customers actually stop paying, or you start having a reduced number of customers. A way that this can be fixed, or rather the way that I fixed it, because this is a case study, is do a value package, in the sense that tie that value package or value-based package to a specific value, a specific outcome, to say that this is a 3-week value-based package, and at the end of the 3 weeks, this is the transformation that you can expect. That way, first of all, the client gets to pay maybe once, or maybe a 70-30 split kind of payment, but they have a timeline with which they can expect a transformation, or at least one, and it's not too long. So it helps the psychology of the client. It also helps the cash flow / revenue of the business. So what this has done is that we have created a revenue model that aligns with when, emphasis on when, this is a timing leak, when the client feels the value, when the client feels a win. Now, that is how I fixed that. And did it work? I think it did. But this is not about the startup today. This is about giving you examples of how there can be leaks in your business model and how it can affect your revenue / your cash flow. Number 2 that I wanted to chat about is what I call poor unit economics or unsustainable unit economics. But it's only me who's calling it that. What I find actually is that many business owners or founders have not even spent time kind of refining or even understanding that, and how it trickles down into their business model as a whole and their financials, as in revenue and cash flow especially. I'm going to give an example. There was a fashion e-commerce brand that did a lot of paid ads. The customer acquisition cost, that is the cost of attracting one customer via those paid ads, was about let's say $60 for just, for the sake of this analogy, and the long-term revenue of those customers was way below that $60. Let's assume like a $45. Sometimes it's not even lower, it's just so close, it's just a little higher than the customer acquisition cost. Now, whichever way it is, it's the same trajectory, it's just that the actual numbers are different. Moving on, the reason that the long-term value of these customers are really low is because there is no repeat purchase from those customers. They don't tend to come back. There's so many reasons that could be the case. Here we could be investigating the quality of the product or the services itself, but that makes it so much more complicated, and I'd rather deal with that on a case-by-case basis. For the sake of this analogy, I'm going to assume that the leak here, just to spell it out more intentionally, is that the cost of acquiring the customer is high and the value that each of those customers bring in terms of revenue is low, or the margin is too low. Now, when you combine a high cost, low revenue, what you find is very weak margins. When you have weak margins, what you find is a growth that is actually bleeding the business, and that's not growth. That's really just, a slow implosion that's going to implode at some point. So that's the leak here, and in this case, that leak is actually really, really it's very poisonous. It's like cancer. It will spread really fast. How would I fix this? There are a couple of ways that I would fix that, and the first one would be exploring affiliate marketing or nurturing organic channels. That would be the first thing that to kind of see, because it's an e-commerce business, and so marketing of some sort is very germane to the business model. Another thing that I would try in the case of this is explore the options of bundled packaging or bundled pricing, or what I call tiered memberships. What that does is it increases the long-term value of each of the customers as soon as you acquire them. When you introduce those two possible solutions or fixes, then there's a really high chance that leak will be fixed. So if you haven't been paying attention to your unit economics, or don't even know how to do it, or haven't even heard of it before as a business owner, that is definitely something to check out. That's something to get some advisory on, or even just, go online and figure it out based on the business model that you're running. The third one that I want to talk about is ambiguous customer segmentation. Now, that is such a huge leak that I've seen in business models, and it is qualitative, but the thing is, your business models are typically described in a qualitative way. Financial models, however, are the ones that assign actual numbers to those qualitative characteristics and then make sense of them. So it's not something that you just gloss over. For every characteristic of your business model, there's a financial implication for that. So you don't want to play with it. And that's my favorite part about financial modeling: the ability to actually transfer qualitative characteristics into quantity. But I digress. Anyway, so what does ambiguous customer segmentation mean? It means not being precise about your customer profile. It means speaking to everyone and no one is listening, that kind of thing. We hear a lot of this kind of things in branding and stuff, but no, it applies in businesses, in finance as well, and there are financial implications to that. So let's take an example. For instance, a software as a service platform that wants to provide services to small business owners, so a 3 to 5 team in a creative business or agency, for instance. But the way this platform is designed is too complex for the day-to-day operations of a solopreneur or small teams, like teams of 3 or 5. However, it's also too limited for mid-sized businesses, so none of them are sticking. None of those customers is actually sticking. Not the small businesses, not the mid-sized, because it does not fully capture the value that those clients are looking for. That is like straight to spiraling cash flow or zero revenue even in the first place. So the leak here really is that the audience is vague. and as a result there's a diluted product feed, which leads to low retention or no retention at all, right? So that's a huge leak. The way to fix this leak is easier than how to spot it. So many founders have been more successful in fixing it after finding out than in actually identifying what the leak is. The reason is because many founders and small business owners are too close to their solution. They're passionate about it. There's a place for passion, obsession, all those things that usually don't let you, see. Not that they don't let you see clearly, but it's just that there are blind spots because you're so close, basically. So the way to fix this is very simple. Focus on a segment. Double down on whatever segment you choose. It could be the mid-sized, it could be these small businesses. Just double down, study them like the back of your hand, study them like they're your thesis, study them like your life depends on it, because the life of your business really does depend on it. So yeah, those are the three that I have for now. If you're dealing with this, if you're dealing with vague customer segmentation, ambiguous customer segmentation, you wanna deal with that. That is more a design problem than finance. But like I said earlier, design, qualitative situations like that translates into financial implications as well. So you don't want to play with it. All right, see you again sometime.